Hello and welcome to the F1 Outlook. It is me once again. Well, first video actually going up live. I come to you just after the Canadian GP qualifying. What must be one of the most confusing and exciting sessions we've had. 2024 has been weird when it comes to qualifying. That has been by far the best part of the product that Formula One has been able to give out. And I fully now agree with Alex Albon that the gap from the slowest car to the fastest car, we don't know what the gap is. It's less than a second in every session, pretty much, except for some weird occurrences. And today, again, we had a fantastic qualifying session. Stories of the day. Q1, Perez didn't make it through. Again, struggling with the tires. Again, the team pulling off a weird strategy when it comes to when they take him out. I feel like this is the fourth time in 2 years that I can point out in my mind where Red Bull left Sergio out for later so that he can get onto the track when the track is the fastest, but he never ever seems to be able to push the car properly in those conditions. The last notable one that always pops into my head is Australia last year when he struggled so much. They let him stay out for a little longer so the track would be drier, so there'd be more rubber down from the rain that happened in Q1 and Q2, or between Q1 and Q2. And then he failed to get through past Q1, and the same thing happened again. Today he is starting 16th. Q2, we had a little bit of drama there too. Verstappen was seeming like he wasn't going to make it. Sainz was outside of the top 10 for most of the session. It looked like we didn't know who was going to go through. The only thing that was consistent was it looked like the Mercs and the McLarens were going pretty fast, and the RBs were looking like they had pace. Magnussen did a great job, seemingly in Q1 with a top 4 time. Q2, unfortunately, didn't make it through, and neither did the Ferraris. Ferrari again, for I think the third time this year, they're trying to do something smart because they, like everybody else, figured out that the rain wasn't going to be heavy enough to impact that session. If you looked at the weather radars, it was like a blip of rain and then a big gap before the rain is going to arrive, which will probably arrive about now, 10 minutes after the session. 20 minutes after the session. For whatever reason, everybody decided to go out on used tires and then use new tires, and Ferrari decided to go used, pretty much because they were focused 100% on Q3, thinking that they could just about manage to get through, and then hoping that having an extra set of tires in Q3, which they technically were had planned since FP2 because they were running medium tires when everybody was running softs, and now they look like utter fools because they finished 10th and 11th, with Verstappen just sneaking through to Q3. And then in Q3, it was a question of the sun was coming out. Was the track going to change its characteristic? And pretty much no. It was cold and slippery. And in those conditions, we have seen Mercedes and McLaren come alive. We saw it in China with Hamilton and his P2. In Miami, it was kind of cold. We saw there and Imola, we saw there the McLarens being pretty fast, and Red Bull and Ferrari struggle in the cold. Mercedes and McLaren thrive in the cold. It's to do with the characteristics of trying to make a car that's easy on the tires, but unfortunately, if the weather is not in a certain space, you get it that the Pirelli tires are difficult to get into the window. And even the people who finished third in McLaren were complaining that it was slippery and it was difficult to get the tire into the window. Lando Norris specifically said that sometimes he got the tire into the window and sometimes he didn't. And when he got a good lap, he knew it was a good lap, but he didn't know how good a lap it was. So he could have been on pole. And then, of course, the final story, George Russell getting his second pole in his career, with Max Verstappen coming in with the exact same time. When I saw that pop up, I was like, okay, 2024, you're delivering when it comes to qualifying. Anyway, yeah, so this is my first video that I'm going to put up on the channel. Nice little 5-minute recap. I do have the Formula One website open, and I thought I had the results at the ready, but they haven't even loaded it. That's how recent it's been. Does anybody have the timings? Canadian GP. I want the whole thing, not just the. There we go. There we go. Thank you. Also, I don't know why I'm so zoomed in. Okay, there we go. So the results are George Russell, P1, Max Verstappen, P2. Then we have Norris and Piastri, just 1/10 out. I mean, Lando was 21 thousandths off. Daniel Ricciardo with a stunning showing, P5. Alonso and Hamilton with Yuki, Stroll, and Albon finishing off the rest of the top 10. Then we have the two Ferraris, Leclerc and Sainz, Logan Sargent doing a great job in P13, Magnussen in 14th, Gasly out qualifying Ocon for the third time this season. Then we have Perez starting 14 positions behind his teammate, Bottas and Ocon. Hulkenberg didn't have a great quali, and Guan Yu Zhou barely participated because of issues he's had all day. Anyway, so that's been me. Hopefully, you enjoy the little breakdown. I'll try and do these if people like these, and I've actually already got another video that I prepared. Unfortunately, it's 50 minutes long, so I'm going to see if I can trim it down into pieces, just talking about the 2026 regs. But until next time, have a good one, and see you later.